So hello everyone, and welcome back to Divine Rebel. My name is Racey, and I'm going to be giving the message for you today. It is a general message, so take it as it resonates and leave it if it doesn't. If it doesn't, don't force it to fit. It's just simply not for you. There's other readers on YouTube that may resonate more with you at this time. For those of you not familiar with me or the channel, I don't filter myself. So if you have kids around and you just don't appreciate that kind of thing, respectfully, I understand. So I'm always giving you the opportunity to sign off now. Otherwise, we are going to get into this. This is cards and divine timing, so it's guidance for what is going on in the energies right now for the collective. This isn't for any specific zodiac sign or anything like that. What is going on? I pulled from 3 decks. I used my Earth Warriors Oracle. I have used my Rainbow Warrior Activation deck, as well as my Oracle of the Mermaids. Alright. And I first pulled from the Earth Warriors deck, and we got Abuela Medicine. Card number 23. The Remedy of Grandmothers. Look how cool that artwork is. Now, I asked Spirit what energy we were focusing on. What was the main vibration that we really needed to receive right now above all others from that deck? So when we get Remedy of the Grandmothers, grandmother energy, when you think of the way a grandmother loves her grandchild, all they really want, more than anything else, is for them to be happy. If you were to ask your grandmom, what should I do about this person? What should I do about this situation? What should I do about my career? What should I do about my relationship? If you were to seriously ask your grandmother, whether they are alive or not, would, I almost guarantee you, every time say, what would make you happiest? Where would you be happiest? What makes you happy? What makes you happy? Do that. Go for that. Abuela, grandmother medicine, they're wise. They've lived through life. They've made choices and decisions. And at the end of the day, in all of their wisdom, they would tell you to choose happiness. If you're not happy, why are you still doing it? It would break their heart, right? It would break their heart why you're in a situation where you're unhappy, no matter what it's in regards to. So, and it's a huge transformation energy too, because when you start to see things that way, right? Like if I asked my grandmother, what would she say? What would grandmom say? Instead of like, what would Jesus do? What would grandmom do? And we start going through these big healings, because when you trust in happiness and you trust in the universe, because Abuela Medicine too, this is the goddess of goddesses. This is the high mother, the creator energy, where it all stems from. It's about starting new, beautiful cycles. It's about letting go of the old. It's about moving into something where, we're always taught and raised about obligation and structure and judgment and all of those things. And your grandma would literally be like, who's judging you? That matters. Who's judging you that matters more than your happiness? Who cares? Who cares? Don't judge your own happiness. Just do it. Just do what you need to do, right? That kind of supportive energy. She's showing you a higher vision, right? Because I'm just being drawn to this whole part of the image up here. She's showing you a greater perspective, a higher perspective that comes after a sort of egoic death of the self, where we go from being something that feels unnatural to us. And then when I say unnatural to us, it doesn't feel good, because being good is not supposed to feel natural to us. And she's helping guide us into a place that feels more natural, because it's comfortable, it's easier, it flows, it creates more smiles in your day, less stress and anxiety in your day. You know, it's a gift, right? Following our happiness and following our joy with due diligence and like militant focus is what actually ultimately ends up achieving the happiness, where you take steps in those directions. And she's asking you to support yourself and your choices when it comes to going after your happiness, and to do what you need to do to achieve your happiness. No regrets, right? No regrets in this life. From the Mermaid of the Oracle deck, we have the Selkie and her seal skin, vulnerability, and energy field adjustment. Okay. The Selkie and her seal skin is about a mermaid who does not feel comfortable in the sea. She doesn't feel at home there. Even if it is her home, even if it's all she's ever known, even if it's her entire history, her past, you know, going down this road where unhappiness and being unhappy was acceptable. Putting your happiness second or third or fourth or last is unacceptable. That's where a past was. And she's saying to herself, I don't actually feel at home here. This is not where I'm meant to be. I feel most at home as a seal. And she puts on her new skin. And she's very much more at home there. And she knows that it's different for her. It's different for the whole greater community of seals, because they're like, okay, we've got a mermaid. We've got a mermaid. But she feels like home here. So I guess she's one of us. And she's accepted. You know, they're curled up on her. They're nuzzled into her. You know, they're around her and supporting her. Like, she's not a fish out of water. It might feel or appear that way when we start going into the unknown of what actually going after our happiness looks like. It's like, oh my God, happiness is here. Like, what if? What if it's the worst moment ever where I think happiness is here and it's not? Or I go for something and it's not there. Well, what if it is? You ain't gonna fucking know if you don't do it. If you do it and it's not there, I mean, shit, then there's gotta be a reason, right? The universe doesn't make mistakes. There's a reason why you are where you are. Learning and reflecting on something that went awry. Coming up with a solution, a next step. She didn't know when she was going to jump up on the land if she would actually be received by the seals as family, but she did. She thought she might even look grossly different, but they gave her a skin. So even if she is a mermaid, at least she has a seal skin. She's like them. They made her feel as welcomed as they could possibly make her feel welcomed. And this is what your new life is about. It might not feel like something you fit in. It might feel really alien to you to experience a reality where happiness is in tow and stability is in tow, because we've always grown up with instability. We've always grown up around negative energies or controlling energies, emotionally manipulative energies, financial issues, right? We've always grown up with these things, and we're finally moving into an arena, in a reality where we're shifting away from that because we've been following our happiness and following our joy choices. We've been following our own beat, right? And Abuela is letting you know, like, keep following your own beat. Don't carry the crosses or burdens of other people. But really, truly focus. Like, if I had it my way, I would have this. And if I had it my way, I would have that. And if I had it my way, I would be able to do this. Well, what's stopping you other than the thought that you can't? Because where there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Sometimes you have to go down into your depths and rescue your heart space, right? You have to actually allow your mind right? The masculine aspect. You have to allow your mind to choose to rescue your heart space, because life doesn't really exist without it. If your heart stops beating, you're not alive anymore. You can't let your heart space die by not feeling through things. My happiness doesn't matter more than this does. What fucking planet are you on? Well, this person might get really hurt if I choose this. What planet are you on? Everything is balanced. And when we go for our happiness, everything that's not balanced in and around us can also balance. We've got to stop the lie, right? The illusion to ourselves that we can't be vulnerable and actually listen to how we feel. When we don't fit in somewhere and we feel like we should maybe be somewhere else, even if it's completely different and completely unknown, and we don't know if we're going to be received or not. We don't know. All we know is it feels like home. All we know is it feels comfortable, it feels safe. It feels more like yourself. And your whole self is accepted there. That's what you're learning, to override fears. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with what your joy is, your happiness is, your stability is. And really take on that energy of, you know what, I'm safe in my skin. Whatever skin I choose suits me best. For me, I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what any other mermaid or merman in that freaking ocean has to say. I'm home here. And allow yourself to recognize that anything that feels uncomfortable, anything that doesn't feel good, it's not your natural state. It's not the natural projection of soul plan that you set for yourself. If it doesn't feel good, it's because you're supposed to say, oh, you know what, this doesn't feel good. This is not the reality I'm meant to be in. Let me make a choice, or let me take an action in my own right, of my own, making, that I know I would be happier in this scenario or that scenario with this person or in that place, doing this or experiencing that. And I'm just going to do that. I'm going to be vulnerable in my truth and recognize that. Really recognize that your heart's worth saving, and adjust your energy field. Your heart starts to light up. When you get vulnerable, when you allow yourself to accept that you don't feel at home where you are, that maybe you do belong somewhere else and it is unknown, but at least it feels more like home. And you take a risk on that, and you're vulnerable. You surrender to the universe. Vulnerability is all about surrender. Surrendering to the universe, that you could be on the operating table and the universe can actually come in and say, hey, we're not going to let your heart fail you. We're not going to let your heart fail you. Your heart's taken on a lot of damage over the course of your life, but we're not going to let it fail you here, not today. Just because your heart's been damaged doesn't mean it can't be saved. And you can take choices and action to a level of ownership and adjust your energy field. Adjust who you are around, because humans are empathic by nature. We are energetic sponges. They say you are who you befriend. Whoever you're around all the time, we take on those energies. We become those vibrational matches when we stay in them. It has to be our choice to elevate out of the energy of everybody else, to choose to rise above the energy of everybody else in our surroundings and adjust that so that we can shine. Surrounding yourself with better energy. Surrounding yourself with better thoughts, better visualizations, not being stuck, knowing things are working out, knowing that there's things that you can do to actually be better and achieve better and maintain better, because you're tired of feeling like you don't fit wherever you are. It's reaching that threshold and saying, I can't live this lie anymore. I can't not be myself anymore. I can't put my feelings off and my misery off and not address it anymore. And I'm choosing better for myself with my actions. Whether that's booking a plane ticket, whether that's applying for a new job, Whether that's looking into classes online, whether it's deciding whether or not you actually want to have a family or get married and move forward with a commitment, to take that next step. Because the past is about being single and not fitting in and having things not work out in relationships because you never really feel like you're connected to anybody, and all of a sudden you fall in love up here. You know what I mean? And you went from never thinking you would ever get married to finding the actual person that you could see yourself being with. You know, whatever your situation is for you. The guiding advice is whatever makes you happy, go for it. Don't let fear get in your way. The last card we got is the 10, which represents the crown chakra. I'm actually going to read a little bit from the book for you. I've pulled the page open. It says, keywords are inspiration, access point, elevation, opportunity, bliss, and link or connection. This energy, when we open up the crown to release fear and the egoic control through fear, when we realize that where there's a will, there's a way, and anything can be achieved with truth to the self, we have a point of access to greater, to higher energy, higher opportunity, more fulfilling opportunity when we remove ourselves from lower vibrations. To where we actually allow bliss, actual bliss, to show up in our life through connection. So it says, the more information you have in any situation can be the difference between joy and grief, being alone or lonely, power or force, and knowledge or wisdom. You're being asked to reserve action and carefully evaluate your judgment right now. Things are not exactly as they seem, and an expanded awareness is necessary. At any point within an experience or situation, you can stop and take a moment for yourself to be mindful of what you're feeling and access your inner wisdom. Take time to visualize the outcome you want, asking your expanded self if it's the absolute best outcome for you at this time, and then notice your emotions and your body's response to it. Do you feel conflicted in any way? And if so, focusing on resolving that is the next step. The crown chakra, right? We're talking about knowledge and wisdom. Where we lack knowledge, we go based on wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience, but not all experience is the same. So where there are holes in your knowledge, do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to feel people out. If you have an unanswered question mark in your mind and you don't know if it's really this or really that, you don't know if someone's really offering you a dream come true or if they're offering you something that could turn into a snake in the grass and you don't know, well, you might want to connect and ask questions. Have that conversation with whoever you need to connect with, to fill the holes in knowledge so that you can make more clear decisions. When you focus on wisdom, right, and what you've learned through experience, you're like, okay, all of my experiences with this particular person or situation, I can understand their pattern. I can understand their character. I can understand their moral code. I can understand what the value exchange is. I could trust this person because I know that these things wouldn't have been said or done if there weren't certain things I did. Right? Ownership. It's being able to fill the holes. It's being able to fill the holes. And a lot of time it's ownership, which is putting ego to the side. Being able to forgive another because we take ownership for ourselves. Being able to forgive ourselves because we take ownership of our choices based on our past experience, the wisdom that we had at the time, which might not be all that we know now with more experience. When you reach out and you create more experience, you create more knowledge, you can develop wisdom. Knowledge develops into wisdom. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable and surrender to the idea that you might need to go and get information in order to work something out better in your mind and feel good moving forward, especially if it pertains to your happiness and your planning, especially if you're seeing things right from that higher perspective. It's important. It's important. Okay? So for those who needed this message in divine time, just know when things shift, and things shift drastically, it is for your highest good. The more drastic the shift, the more in your highest good it is. Because it's giving you a completely new experience to learn from and heal in and appreciate and hold gratitude for, one way or the other. One way or the other. Be grateful that even if you were the mermaid who never felt at home, that you are the mermaid now. You are the Selkie in her seal skin. And there's no shame in that, leaving one world for another that just feels better. Your Nona or your nanny or your grandmom or your Mimi or your mom would just want you to be happy. They would tell you, just go be happy. Just do it. Would they not? Much love to all of our grandmoms out there, alive and in spirit. Thank you for always guiding us and supporting us. Till next time, guys. Divine Rebel Racey signing off. Remember, always love each other, but most importantly, love yourself. Bye, guys.